shooting and paralyzing a high school cheerleader, is sentenced today. The victim says what happened in court is the final disrespect.
Today, Mayor Todd Gloria is giving his State of the City address. I'll tell you what he said coming up.
4 astronauts returned back to Earth right off our coast here in San Diego following a medical issue in space.
And a new wildlife hospital is now open here in Solana Beach. I'll tell you more about their mission and give you a look at one of the first patients.
Legoland is ready for liftoff. We're showing you the new galactic coaster that's inching closer to opening day.
CBS 8 News live at 6 starts now.
No, I don't forgive him. That was a big F you to me.
We begin tonight with reaction from 19-year-old Brianna Wallace, who was left paralyzed by a gang shooting 2.5 years ago. Today, she got to witness a judge hand down punishment. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Chiquetta.
I'm Marcella Lee. The man who shot Brianna got the maximum sentence, 24 years in prison. CBS 8's Abby Black shares more of Brianna's powerful words after the sentencing and why the 19-year-old says justice doesn't feel good enough.
19-year-old Brianna Wallace says that she has waited 2.5 years for justice. She said that she was ready to forgive the man who shot and paralyzed her until he stayed silent throughout his sentencing. Then, just as he was leaving the courtroom, headed back to jail, he mumbled 9 words. Brianna says that was the final disrespect.
Does anyone want to be heard further?
21-year-old Juan Diaz-Velasco did not say a word as the judge sentenced him to 24 years for attempted murder. She ordered us to tylize his face. But just as the bailiff approached, he mumbled this.
I'm sorry for whatever happened to her.
I'm sorry for whatever happened to that girl. But whatever he did was shoot and paralyze a cheerleader now confined to a wheelchair.
Basically, I thought it was like an F you to me, so I was like, oh, wow.
Detectives say Brianna Wallace was a junior at Lincoln High when she was caught in the crossfire of a gang shootout leaving a party in Talmadge in October 2023. 3 men were involved. Diaz-Velasco pled guilty and got the harshest sentence. The judge asked him to face Brianna.
Look back at the girl whose life you changed.
He never turned around.
Maybe it'll be the last one you change for the negative. Maybe start thinking about your future in a positive way.
I don't do certain things I used to do. I don't go places I used to go anymore. I can't be like really adventurous. I have to, I can't just get up and go places how I would normally used to, and I really do not like that at all.
Brianna and her family say that they were too overwhelmed for victim impact statements in court. Now they wish they had.
But we are not pleased with the judgment at all. He did not face her at all. He was not apologetic.
And I'm just glad my baby did get justice, what she did get. I'm not satisfied with it, but we'll take it.
I asked Brianna if she forgives the shooter.
Absolutely not anymore. Maybe before this, but after what he just said, definitely not.
Brianna starts Mesa College soon. She says her dreams of being a flight attendant are now out of reach, so now she wants to be a pilot.
You know, he didn't really change me mentally, definitely physically, and I hate that, but so I just gotta live with it, get better, and hope to, I know I'm going to walk again, so.
In downtown, Abby Black, CBS 8.
Thank you, Abby. A massive sinkhole is causing big problems in San Diego's Marina neighborhood. Take a look at this. The city says a water main broke around midnight near Marina Boulevard and Napa Street, triggering the sinkhole and shutting down lanes in multiple directions. Drivers are being urged to avoid the area as crews assess this damage. SDG&E has shut off gas and electric to hundreds of customers until repairs are complete. There is no timeline for when the road will fully reopen.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria just delivered his State of the City address this afternoon, touting progress across San Diego while also taking a firm stance on current federal immigration enforcement.
It was a packed and at times tense scene at City Hall today. CBS 8's Alex Cheney was there and has more on the address. Alex?
Absolutely. It was packed in city council chambers and really a tense mood as several people actually had to be escorted out. But what is most interesting is actually what Mayor Todd Gloria didn't say. He didn't mention the controversy of parking at Balboa Park at all. However, he did mention a few accomplishments and challenges the city of San Diego will continue to face over the next year. The mayor highlighted measurable results, including increased housing production, a reduction in unsheltered homelessness, declining crime for the third consecutive year, and record investments in neighborhood infrastructure. The mayor touted the city permitted thousands of new homes this year to give San Diegans more places to live and drive down housing costs. Housing is something that he calls an essential right for San Diegans. Gloria said his administration lowered homelessness by 14% across the city this year. Gloria said crime is down across San Diego. Overall, crime is down by 6% since last year. Murders down by 22%. He says this year, in terms of infrastructure, the city resurfaced thousands of miles of roads, filled 44,000 potholes, and fixed over 2,000 streetlights. Now, the mayor did address the city's $318 million budget deficit. He says the city has made progress to bridge that gap by cutting certain parts of the city's budget.
We reduced spending, restructured leadership, eliminated 9 city departments, and cut $35 million in outside contracts and management positions. We moved city employees out of rented office space and into city-owned spaces, saving $13 million. We made the tough calls to bring our finances closer to long-term stability. Because if we're going to deliver on the basics that you expect, we have to fund the city that we are today, not the city that we were 30 years ago.
And as I mentioned before, several people were escorted out by the San Diego Police Department during Mayor Gloria's speech. There were a few outbursts. I counted about 5 myself. So a little bit of that just added to the tense feeling. Now, coming up tonight at 7, I'll tell you more about what he said about housing. Now he's trying to build more housing to help San Diegans everywhere over the next year. Reporting live, I'm Alex Cheney. Back over to you.
It doesn't happen often, but Governor Gavin Newsom and President Donald Trump appear to be aligned on housing affordability. Both criticized corporate investors for buying single-family homes and then renting them out, saying that contributes to our housing crisis.
CBS 8 State Matters political reporter Jenny Ha breaks down a renewed effort to limit corporate home ownership here in California.
There's still a lot of discussion to be had, like what's the definition of big investors and do they actually drive up rent? But there is agreement something must be done and quick.
We have to stop Wall Street investment corporations from buying up the American dream.
Bay Area Assemblymember Alex Lee is once again pushing legislation to limit corporate home ownership in California. His bill, which passed in the Assembly and awaits a hearing in a Senate committee, would prohibit business entities like firms, corporations, and limited liability companies that already own more than 1,000 single-family homes from buying even more to convert them into rentals.
We should ban these corporations who are buying up single-family homes. We should use the tax code, we should use regulation, we should use our Department of Justice to prevent them from scooping up the American dream.
Lee emphasizes the bill targets big corporations, not small mom-and-pop landlords, like Invitation Homes, the nation's largest single-family home leasing and management company with over 12,000 homes in California as of 2024. The company, which recently reached a settlement with California for unlawfully increasing rents, did not immediately respond to requests for comment.
They only see them as monetization, as opportunity for profit, and homes are for people to live in.
Lee proposed a similar measure last legislative session, which failed, but this time the governor seems to be on board, as is President Trump, who posted in part, quote, "I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes, and I will be calling on Congress to codify it."
I think it's shameful that we allow private equity firms in Manhattan to become some of the biggest landlords here in our cities in California. That's going to mean more oversight and enforcement, and it potentially is going to mean changing some of our state tax code.
We reached out to the governor's office on what specifics would look like. We did not hear back. But California Attorney General Rob Bonta says this.
This is something that others, including myself, have called attention to in the past. It's something that is overdue in terms of needing action.
But opposition, too, is loud and clear.
It's just too expensive in California. You know, it's less than least 1% in California of that type of ownership if you're talking about the publicly traded companies. If you want to outsmart the market, then let's just build more housing and let's make sure that everybody in California has the option to buy or rent.
And concerns heightened recently amid reports investors and corporations were buying up much of the land impacted by the Palisades and Eaton fires. At the state capitol, Jenny Hutt, CBS 8.
Thanks, Jenny. Tonight, we're learning the California GOP will be seeking an emergency injunction from the Supreme Court following a federal panel of 3 judges upholding California's Prop 50. Attorney General Rob Bonta tells us he rejects the argument that voters were duped on the redistricting effort, saying it was clear as day in the measure's text.
It is baseless and meritless. The voters voted on a partisan redistricting. They wanted the potential for 5 more Democratic congressional seats. That's what they voted on. That's what they voted on overwhelmingly. That's what matters. That's what the court found. And that's what the U.S. Supreme Court, I believe, will find.
The Attorney General added he's not sure whether the Supreme Court will actually take the case, but if it does, he is confident the state will win again.
4 astronauts are back on Earth tonight after splashing down right off our coast overnight.
The NASA crew made a splash landing around 12:45 a.m. They were supposed to come home next month, but as CBS 8's Shannon Handy tells us, they returned early because one of the astronauts has a medical issue.
This is the first time a medical issue has cut short a mission on the International Space Station, but due to privacy, NASA will not say what that medical issue is. What they will say is that the crew of 4 is safe after landing right here off our coast.
And if you're in California, you can go see this.
This is what Thursday's return looked like via satellite images. From the ground, people all over Southern California could see the capsule as it barreled back to Earth before making a splash landing off the coast of San Diego.
That's NASA astronaut Zena Cardman wrapping up her first mission to space.
The 4 astronauts, which include 2 Americans, 1 Japanese, and 1 Russian, smiled as they disembarked. NASA made the decision to bring them home a month early after the space agency announced it was canceling a planned spacewalk due to a medical issue. They had been in space for 167 days. Upon return, the astronauts were removed one by one onto the deck of a SpaceX recovery ship, then taken to a local hospital. NASA will not say which one is dealing with medical issues, but did give this update during an early morning news conference.
All crew members are currently undergoing the routine post-splashdown medical evaluation. The crew member of concern is doing fine. We will share updates on their health as soon as it's appropriate to do so.
Earlier, NASA had said the return had to do with, quote, a medical issue in the difficult areas of microgravity. Today, they reiterated, despite the early return, the mission, which involved hundreds of hours of extensive research and maintenance on the International Space Station, was a success.
Spaceflight will always carry some degree of uncertainty. That is the nature of exploration. Fundamentally, it's why we're in space, to learn. It's why NASA prepares for the unexpected, so we are ready to respond decisively and safely. The successful return of Crew 11 is a direct result of that preparation.
We, of course, will share more details as they become available. Reporting from La Jolla, I'm Shannon Handy for CBS 8.
Thank you, Shannon. Verizon service is back up and running tonight following a widespread outage.
What they're offering their customers as compensation for the big inconvenience still ahead. Plus, new details about the dozens of dogs rescued from a cramped apartment and the criminal charges that could be filed.
And our first look inside Legoland, California's latest expansion effort.
Looking out from our Mount Soledad cam, what you see in the distance right about here, that is not the water. That is actually the marine layer making its way back on shore, and it has led to a reduction of visibility out there. How long will it be sticking around that forecast? I'll have those details coming up.